Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea, a channel for marriage-minded men. I've been married for over 10 years now to a woman from the Philippines. Back in 2015, I make relationship videos. Today I want to talk about watch out for these traits in your dates. Traits of immaturity. Please subscribe here to Love Beyond the Sea and make sure to click the notification bell so you know other videos are coming up. And I post about 3 a week, and I've posted over 1,950 so far. This comes from an article, Isabella Chase from geediting.com. Traits of an adult woman who has not grown up emotionally according to psychology. I'm just going to include women and men here because I think it can go both ways. And I got married very quickly, so I wasn't able to notice things like this. But if you're going to take your time, try to look out for things like this. Signs of immaturity. And she says there's a stark contrast between being an adult by age and being one emotionally. Discrepancy is most visible when individuals, in this case, they're talking about women in this article, fail to grow up emotionally. It's like they're stuck in a time warp. Their emotional maturity lagging behind their physical years. Now, the first thing they mention of 8, I'll try to run through these quickly, is emotional reactivity. Remember, this goes both ways. There's a clear distinction between emotional response and emotional reactivity. Emotional reactivity refers to when an individual's emotions are heightened and intense, often out of proportion to the situation at hand. Essentially, they react before they think. They say, picture an adult woman who throws a tantrum when she doesn't get her way. Maybe she sulks for days over a minor disagreement. Sound familiar? According to psychology, these are telltale signs of someone who hasn't grown up emotionally. They're stuck in an emotional time zone where reacting impulsively was the norm, usually dating back to their childhood or teenage years. Skipping ahead to number 2, signs of immaturity would be difficulty in handling criticism. And they say criticism, whether constructive or otherwise, can be hard to swallow for anyone. But for an emotionally immature adult woman or man, it's like a bitter pill that's almost impossible to digest. They talk about a time when they had a friend of theirs, very talented, excelled at her job, but couldn't handle any form of criticism. They get, constructive feedback, and then they become defensive and upset, and, even talked about quitting their job. You've probably noticed in people like this. Maybe you yourself have been in a situation like this when you were younger. Number 3, lack of emotional intelligence. That is EQ, the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. They said that Talent Smart, it's a study they did, found that emotional intelligence is the strongest predictor of performance, explaining a full 58% of success in all types of jobs. An emotionally immature woman or man often displays a lack of this emotional intelligence. This might manifest as an inability to understand and manage their own emotions or an incapacity to empathize with others' feelings. Number 4, sign of immaturity, according to this article, difficulty in maintaining relationships. That's a big one. Relationships, whether it be romantic, platonic, or professional, requires a certain level of emotional maturity to sustain. In the case of an emotionally immature woman, maintaining stable relationships can be a constant struggle. They might jump from one relationship to another, unable to handle the complexities that come with deep connections. Now, this is where I feel very strongly about this, being married and wanting to help men get married. And in a day and age when people say you shouldn't get married, you're going to have to deal with some things in relationships. Learn all you can about relationships and marriage before you get married. I would like to think my channel would be helping an awful lot in that way, so that, like they say here, so it's not a constant struggle, maintaining stable relationships. Jumping from one relationship to another unable to handle the complexities that come with it. They say their relationships are often characterized by high drama, chaos, and dissatisfaction. Their inability to compromise, lack of empathy, and poor conflict resolution skills often lead to this instability. It's like they're stuck in a perpetual cycle of emotional turmoil that they can't seem to break free from. This constant instability in relationships is another telltale sign of emotional immaturity. Number 5, fear of being alone. Being comfortable in one's own company is a sign of emotional maturity. It indicates that you're secure in yourself and you don't need constant validation from others to be fulfilled. However, an emotionally immature woman or man often struggles with this concept. The fear of being alone can be overwhelming for them. They constantly seek companionship, even if it's detrimental to their well-being. I would say that's where you draw the line between just fear of being alone and really needing and wanting companionship. Back to the article, they may say or stay in unhealthy relationships or surround themselves with people who don't treat them well simply because the thought of being alone terrifies them. You've probably known someone like that. They say it's far more, this fear is more than just about loneliness. It's about facing their own thoughts and feelings without the distraction of others. It's about confronting the person they are when no one is around. Number 6, avoidance of responsibility. Taking responsibility for one's actions, mistakes, and decisions is a significant marker of emotional maturity. They talk about a time in their life when they were reluctant to take responsibility. They blame others for their shortcomings and failures, and it was easy to point fingers and to look inward. However, this behavior changed when they realized that shifting blame wasn't going to help them grow as an individual. Taking responsibility meant acknowledging their faults and learning from them. So I say in an emotionally immature woman, and I say or man, you might notice this reluctance to accept responsibility. They might consistently blame others for their misfortunes or failures, never taking the time to introspect and accept their part in the situation. I think that can happen a lot of times when marriages break up too. 7, impulsive behavior. Impulsivity is often seen as a trait of youth, a characteristic of individuals who act first and think later. But in an emotionally immature person, this impulsivity doesn't fade with age. They might make rash decisions, from spontaneous purchases to impromptu life changes without considering the consequences. And this leads to undesirable outcomes, from financial instability to relationship troubles. It's like they're driven by the thrill of the moment, overlooking the potential risks and ramifications. So again, just think about these things, see if you can observe them in somebody you're serious about, getting married to. Number 8, inability to set boundaries. They say here, setting personal boundaries is a crucial aspect of self-care and emotional health. It's about understanding your limits, respecting your needs, and communicating them effectively to others. It's about prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being without feeling guilty or selfish. So that's all I'm going to go into today on this fine article from GE Editing. Isabella Chase. These signs of immaturity would be emotional reactivity. Watch out for these in future marriage partners. Difficulty in handling criticism, lack of emotional intelligence, difficulty in maintaining relationships. And it would be nice to have some success in that before you get married. Another one, fear of being alone, avoidance of responsibility, impulsive behavior, and inability to set boundaries. So I hope this helps. I've gone over a lot of articles from sources like this and, give my own thoughts. I've got over 1,950 videos, so there's a lot to choose from. And yes, my wife is in some of those videos in a playlist called Just Us. And I'd like to see more people not be so afraid of being married and being more prepared for being married. So if that's something you would like to do, then subscribe here to Love Beyond the Sea.